17 minutes past 8, you are listening to Sabah al-Muslim on Radio Islam International. As I said, we're crossing over to Turkey. We're speaking to Aylin Kocaman about the situation in Turkey. A different perspective a bit on what's really happening, what's the state of the unrest, what started it all off, what's Erdogan's position, how is he perceived in the country, are the allegations that are leveled against him valid or not? We're getting a very biased perspective on the Turkish issue from mainstream media. In my mind, there's no doubt about that. Not only biased, but in many ways also an exaggerated perspective. And here you have an analyst, a journalist, a columnist based in Turkey who's giving a different perspective on this particular issue. We're just waiting for our technicians to hook us up, and as soon as we have Aylin Kocaman on the line, we'll commence with the interview. Okay, 20 minutes past 8 Central African Time. You are listening to Sabah al-Muslim on Radio Islam International. And as I said, we're crossing over now to Turkey, and joining us on the line we have Aylin Kocaman, as I've explained previously, a host on the Building Bridges show, a columnist for a variety of publications, a Middle East analyst, and also a peace activist. Aylin, we really appreciate your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's an honor to join this conversation.
Right, firstly, let's get an update on the current situation. We know that for the last few weeks there's been extensive coverage globally on what's happening in Turkey. Just bring us up to speed. What's the latest?
What's the latest? Gezi Park is now empty. It's been planted with so many trees. But you know, the protest was started as an environment protest, but turned out such a communist groups protests, and it brought violence. And right now it's calming down, but it's not so good for Turkey, because there was some kind of communist uprising on the streets. Of course, there are peaceful demonstrators, and I'm on their side on their demands, but they were together with the communist groups on the streets, and they are unaware of that, and that would bring a great danger to Turkey.
Now, you talk about a communist uprising. Can you elaborate and explain that?
Yes, of course. First of all, I must say that there is a democracy in Turkey, and protests are necessary for democracies. And if people want something from the government, of course, they are free to go out of the street and tell their wishes, make their voices heard. This is the beauty of democracies. And such protests are being made every time in my country. And those people in Gezi Park are trying to protect the environment. It was a good thing. I also did want those trees to be removed. I also don't approve a shopping mall plan in the Gezi Park. I also think that it would be much better if our Prime Minister becomes much compassionate, uses a much calmer voice, and does not apply restrictions. I agree with them on those demands. What I am not supporting, I'm supporting their cause. But what I don't approve is the communist groups on the street protests turning out to be an anti-government protest, and Gezi Park people's attitude after the negotiations. These are the things that I don't approve. Communist groups, after the protests, the communist groups started gathered on Taksim Square. A quick information, Gezi Park is just beside Taksim Square. They first created violence on the streets, and they also hang their flags and posters everywhere in Taksim. They put barricade everywhere in Taksim, and they never allowed anyone or any car entered there. People could not open their stores, could not go their houses, people could not make their businesses, and they declared Taksim as a liberated zone. On the 11th of June, early in the morning, there was a police operation there. It was broadcast live on international TVs for about 17 hours. And Governor made declaration that the operation was only aiming to take down the communist flags and making those people away from there. He declared that they would not intervene into Gezi Park at all. So the peaceful protesters will stay safe, but the communist groups will be eliminated by taking them away from there. It was a successful police operation, and it was necessary. When I talk such things on international media, people generally ask me why you take communism as a great threat. Let me explain. There has been a terror in my country for about 30 years. PKK terrorist organization was a great threat for Turkey, and they killed thousands of people, thousands of soldiers. This organization is a communist one, and they are fed by domestic and international communist groups. Right now there's a peace process in Turkey. PKK is leading Turkey, but some people feel uncomfortable, so they merely wanted to take advantage of such turmoil in Turkey. And this is not a good thing for Turkey and for the Middle East.
In other words, they were trying to be opportunistic. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, indeed.
Now, how would you rate Erdogan's response to all of this? Initially, he was overseas, he was abroad, reportedly on holiday. He had a very nonchalant approach initially. Many would have said that he gave the impression that he wasn't too bothered. Did that approach and that attitude change when he returned home? Could he or should he have handled this in a different way?
Actually, he needed to use a much calmer voice, calmer attitude at the beginning. It would be much better, I guess. But later then, after the protest demands from the government, actually the protest the demands from the government was reasonable, as I said, but after Taksim was cleared from the communist groups, there were negotiation between the Gezi Park occupiers and the government during a week. It's a progress for Erdogan, I think. It's a great phase for the democracy. I found it very positive. They make negotiations with them during a week, day and night, because those people did want to make their voices heard, to be consulted, and the government, Erdogan, did that perfectly on this week, the last week. They wanted the government to listen to them, and they did it. And with those negotiations, our government showed that they want to consult them as well. It's a good. They said that they would wait for the judicial ruling halting the Gezi Park project, and they even the court ruled the project should continue. The project should be put to a plebiscite, a kind of referendum in Istanbul. So Erdogan will ask his people's opinion. That was a great progress in democracy. And also the government also promised to listen to all the demands to the period that followed. That was a quite democratic solution. They already wanted it from the start. They were so positive. Those Gezi Park representatives were so positive when the negotiations are over. By the next day they held a meeting and decided that they were not going out of the park. And that was unexpected. Every columnist and writers in Turkey was in shock. I think that decision gave a great harm to their innocence of their protests and their demands. That was a major missed opportunity to come by a democratic solution. It's not clear what more needed to be done. Many people are questioning their sincerity right now. That was a mistake, I guess, because the government's approach was so positive.
Now, how would you evaluate and what would your thoughts be on the way mainstream media has covered all of this? There are those who have said that it has been grossly exaggerated. There are those who say that there has been this intentional misrepresentation so that it can reflect negatively on Erdogan and his party. Would you concur with that?
Actually, the attitude of some of the international press was amazing, unbelievable. Actually, it's about the Muslim world, of course. It's about Islamic world, because if there's a turmoil in Islamic world, then some people, some of the circles, some deep circles are trying to get benefit from it, and that was a sign of it, and we saw it crystal clear. First of all, local pressure is so intense. The power of the tutor was so intense. Even the reporters from leading international press easily believe such lies on social media. Some of the Turkish press and also some leading international press made disgusting news. It was really incredible. They spread lies. The picture of the pro-government rally has been given as an anti-government protest on the leading international media. if you wish, I can give you the name.
Yes, go ahead.
CNN International gave this pro-government rally as an anti-government protest. And European Parliament also made a declaration about Turkey supporting the rights of the illegal communist groups who create violence and humiliating the government and accused Turkey to be Islamist. That was also unbelievable. The Prime Minister gave a very harsh response to them, and I am 100% agree with this reaction. But the weird thing is that those people must have forgotten that we are not a member of the European Union, so European Parliament has no right to take decision about Turkey. This is really unbelievable. So there is a great protest over Islamic countries right now, and they merely want turmoil in Islamic countries. And right now, Turkey as a rising star, Turkey, a progress Turkey, makes some people restless, I guess.
What would you say have been the achievements of Erdogan and his party? They have been now in power for over a decade. Many credit them with having turned Turkey around from an economic laughingstock to economic powerhouse, from instability to stability, from oppression and suppression to democracy. How would you view it?
Actually, our Prime Minister is a very successful leader. He changed Turkey, and there's a great and progressed Turkey here in the world right now. It's a balanced country in the Middle East. It's, as I said, a rising star in the Middle East. It's a Muslim and also a democratic country in the world. New Arab Spring countries are following Turkey as a great example. Our economy is great right now, best ever. It's the only country where economy rises in spite of the economic crisis in the world. We paid off our IMF debt. Now we will be lending money to them. Our credit note has always been increasing. The interest rates and inflation is the lowest point right now. At the same time, Turkey is a negotiator between the Middle East and also the Western world, and also Muslim world and the Western world. So, as I said, for some people, this rising is kind of a threat, and those circles are trying to get advantage of such an uprising right now. They are naming it dictatorship, but there's democracy in Turkey. They are naming it as a Turkish Spring, but as I said, there is democracy in Turkey. So some of the medium headlines gave this uprising as a massacre in Turkey. It's weird.
Who stands to benefit from all of this? If you know, as you mentioned earlier on, there was an initial protest which seemingly was sincere. It had more of an environmental element to it, and now you had those who became opportunists, perhaps a communist agenda. Who motivates them? Who stands to gain the most if Turkey's reputation takes a bit of a hammering, if Erdogan is put under pressure?
Actually, some certain circles always wanted always wanted to separate Turkey. This was the mission of the PKK terrorist organization. They always wanted to separate Turkey, divide Turkey into parts and make them weak, because a weak Turkey, they want to spread communism. The greatest aim is to spread communism, especially in the eastern part of Turkey, and then spread other parts of Turkey, and then to the Europe and to the whole world. You know, in communism, there is always the final aim is always to reach the communist world state. So they want Turkey as a starting point. So they always wanted to dig that for about 30 years, as I said. Some of the communist parties, some of the communist groups, some deep communist groups are still alive in Europe. That's why Merkel, for example, from Germany, do not want Turkey to take part in the European Union. That's the reason he declared this today again. They don't want. They want a communist Turkey. Some of the circles do not want a powerful Turkey, because they want to get benefit from the whole Middle East. Middle East is right now is not stable, and they always want wars about that. I have a column about that, about the declaration of Daniel Pipes. He said that we urge the turmoils in Syria so that they will not be powerful. This is their mindset. They do not want any powerful Middle East. So if Turkey becomes powerful, that will bring a great damage to their plans, because they have plans in the Middle East. They have great plans. They want to get some benefit from the Middle East. Middle East is very precious for them. And the powerful Turkey and a Turkey turning to the Islamic world right now is a great threat for those people. So some of the media are also being funded by them. Some of the groups are being benefited from them. So they are together right now. Any kind of uprising have always opportunists.
You spoke early on and you said personally you felt that Erdogan should have taken a calmer approach. One of the allegations being leveled against him in the mainstream media is that whilst he's a democratically elected president, he's as his power has become more cemented and firm, as he has remained longer in office, he's become more authoritarian in his approach. Do you think that is a fair remark in a general sense?
He has been authoritative, yes, this is true. People do not want such, how can I explain, resistance over them, authorization over them. And Turkish people are democratic and modern people, so they don't want restrictions in their lives. I'm sure our Prime Minister is doing this with a very good intentions. I'm sure of that. But those people are progressing, and democracies are always progress with the freedoms. And freedom is also is a must according to our religion too. So we need to urge freedom so that we can be more healthy brains. But people always urge. They say that when we ask what more needs to be done, some of the people say that the government must resign. But in democracies, you can go out of the streets and tell your requests from the government, and it's evaluated by the government. This brings progress to the democracies, as I said. But in democracies, you cannot go out of the streets and urge the government to resign. It's not a way to change the government. There is no dictatorship in Turkey. There is no single-party elections in Turkey. Turkey is not a Syria or Mubarak's Egypt. There are more than 70 political parties in Turkey, including rightists, leftists, communists, Maoist, Kurds parties. And 2014 elections, 22 parties officially will be taking part in the elections. So we, the people, decide what government ruled us in elections. People chose AKP. For 10 years, the majority of the Turkish people are given their votes to Erdogan. There have been 3 general elections, 2 local elections, 2 referendums for 10 years, during 10 years. And Erdogan was always the leader. So under these circumstances, if you go out and say that the government must resign, that means that you do not accept democratic elections and you do not respect people's choice. It's not democracy or freedom. If they have complaints about the government, they need to show their reactions at the ballot box. But at the same time, I repeat, they can inform their wishes to the government all the time, and I request our Prime Minister to be more calmer. It will be much better.
Now, talking about next year's election, is he eligible to stand again? There's a lot of talk that he wants to change the system, move it away from a prime ministerial kind of rule to a presidential rule, which will perhaps bypass the technicalities and allow for him to continue leading the country.
Yes, but he's not sure right now. He thought about that, but he did not decide for sure. He's still thinking, I guess.
Is he eligible to stand again as Prime Minister next year, or is it restricted to 2 terms?
I personally don't want President Erdogan, because right now this democracy is very stable, and there is a great danger, as I said, there is a great danger in Turkey, because there is a separation danger in Turkey. So such a system will lead such groups to separate Turkey very easily. So I guess this will not be good, so good for Turkey.
What about the allegations that he pushes Islamic values too much, and that many Muslims around the world were surprised when they were hearing reports that Muslims in Turkey were protesting because they felt alcohol laws were too tough? Many would assume that that would be a given when it comes to Muslim communities, as alcohol consumption is prohibited. Where does the truth lie? You see the West accusing Erdogan of claiming that he runs Turkey democratically and that there's a democracy in place, but he's trying to push what has been termed an Islamist agenda.
Actually, it's not such a restriction. It's the alcohol. It's not a restriction of alcohol consuming. It's the restriction of selling alcohol during night, and it's the same law that's been approved and practiced in Europe right now. So it's not a restriction for them. It's the safety of the people right now. But people do not, as I said, do not like some kind of restrictions, and our Prime Minister is from time to time giving some advices to the people. For example, he says that do not drink too much. It's just an advice, but because of his harsh attitude, it's sometimes seen like he is giving orders, and people are uncomfortable with that, and that's the problem, I guess. I know that he is doing it with good intentions, but restrictions always make people restless. So Turkey, the young people in Turkey, especially the young people in Turkey, are going modern and modern every day. So democracies need to progress in the same way accordingly, and Prime Minister should also see this. I guess the government also make a great progress within themselves, and need to be more modern and more democratic. It's possible. It's always possible. It's possible with the freedoms, but it's not Islamic restrictions. It's for sure.
We only hear of Erdogan when you talk about political heavyweights in Turkey, and when I say we, I'm talking about those outside Turkey who rely heavily on mainstream media reports. Who are some of the other political heavyweights? If Erdogan indeed does not continue after next year's election, but his party wins again, who's likely to succeed him? Who are the leading figures in opposition circles? If Erdogan's party loses, who are likely to take over the reins of power?
Actually, I'm not sure the English version of MHP party is a powerful party right now, but CHP, there is the leading opposition party, is not so powerful, and I'm not sure if they can resist against the PKK right now. This is the greatest threat in Turkey. I'm not sure they are so powerful right now. So I guess I believe AKP should be leader in the same elections. I don't know who will be the prime minister. Erdogan is going well. Maybe he changes, and maybe he will be more democratic leader that will who will embrace all the people in Turkey. Maybe it will be much better, but I'm not sure which party replaces AKP right now. I cannot see such a powerful party right now.
What about Abdullah Gül? Where does he feature?
He is very calm, very. We love him. Actually, all the people around the world love him. He will be good, yes. Why not?
Okay, your final thoughts in terms of how you see all of this playing out in the next few days. Do you see the situation coming to an end very shortly, or could it continue for some time yet?
I think that it will come down right now, and we will see better days, inshallah. I just want Prime Minister to say some very positive to give some very positive messages to the Turkish young people, because they expect such things right now. If he does that, and he will be more democratic, if he give more importance to the to every beautiful things, art, music, everything, and science as well, and modernity, and it will create a very mild atmosphere in Turkey, and it will bring more democracy in Turkey, because Turkey needs a great democracy right now, because this country should be the role model of the other Arab Spring countries right now. They need to watch Turkey, and they are trying to take something from Turkey right now, take positive things from Turkey right now. So this country can be a role model, and Erdogan can do that, I believe that, but he should be more compassionate, because we need compassion right now. Muslims should be supportive of each other, especially the Muslim world are responsible for everything in the world right now, and in order to get rid of all kind of turmoils, all kind of uprisings, Muslims should be supportive of each other, and we should invite everyone to love and peace all the time. Otherwise, there will always be hatred in the world. Hatred feeds hatred, and we can never find a solution to the wars on which thousands of people are dying. So, union, a great Islamic union, is a must, and Erdogan needs to focus on that. This is my thoughts.
All right, Aylin, thank you so much for your time this morning. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
It was Aylin Kocaman, a well-known columnist, journalist, and Middle East analyst, talking to us from Turkey.